أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات. فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين، فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له، وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. I recited before you verses 183 and 184 of Surah Al-Baqarah. In the previous lecture of tafseer, I elaborated upon the first verse that I recited before you, verse 183. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون, and wherein we learnt that through fasting we are given the power of restraining and controlling our nafs, our self, our desires, and being able to refrain from the demands of the nafs, which is fundamentally instrumental in developing and establishing the quality of taqwa and righteousness and piety. Now, moving further, some ahkam or some injunctions are mentioned with relation to fasting. The first one is regarding an ill person. Before we go forward, I would like to translate, do tarjuma of verse 184. After the verse 183, we're moving on in this discourse on to verse number 184. Days numbered, ayyam ma'dudat. Then whosoever among you is ill or embarked upon a journey, for him is the like number of other days, and those who can keep it with hardship, the redemption is the feeding of a poor person. And whoever does good voluntarily, optionally, it will be better for him. And that you fast will be better for you if you but know. So this is a translation of verse 184. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala therein has given relaxation for a person who is ill. If the illness is such that there is a fear of the illness proving fatal if the person chooses to fast, or there is a fear that the illness will increase, then that person is excused from fasting on that particular day, or in the days that he renders the illness. as Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in another place, لا يريد بكم العسر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't intend hardship for you. And this is what is indicated towards, and this is the qawl, this is the opinion of the majority, the jumhur of the fuqaha, of the jurists from the ummah. And the musafir is also excused. أو على سفر, the word أو على سفر is mentioned as opposed to musafir. Ala safar is mentioned, which first of all indicates towards the fact that the safar in question, the person who is embarked upon a journey, should be upon a journey of a certain length. It should not be a journey of a mere 5 to 10 miles. Rather, it should be a journey which, according to the according to the teachings of our beloved Master Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, may Allah be pleased with him, and Sayyiduna Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, and many fuqaha and jurists are of the opinion that the length of this journey should be at the very least 3 manzils, which is a distance that a person can journey on foot easily for 3 days and 3 nights. So a person can travel and undertake this journey of 7 to 2 hours. That is calculated by latter fuqaha to be 48 miles. So ala safar is an indication towards the fact that there must be a journey of a decent length, in other words minimum 48 miles. And secondly, the person in question, although he may have covered 48 miles or more, he should not be a muqim. In other words, he should not be a resident in a place, staying in a place with the intention of residing there for 15 days or more. So somebody who makes the intention to stay in a place, a certain place, and is present there for 15 days or more, or so he basically becomes a muqim. And so the person ala safar who is embarked upon a journey should not be a muqim in this context. And moving forward, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not use the word qada, فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاء here. Instead he said فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, that person has the option of عِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, that he can, in the days that he has left of his life when he returns from his journey, he is only obliged to make up those fasts if he has those days left in his life after he returns from his journey. For instance, if the first 10 days of Ramadan he was a traveler, and as soon as he returns from his journey, which may be, let's say, the 10th of Shawwal, he passes away. Now those fasts that were upon him, they are forgiven, and there is no need to make a bequest, wasiyah, of giving a fidya to his warithin, to his inheritors. So is upon the shart, upon the condition that he has those numbered days left that of the fast that he missed. Okay, so so only those days that he is alive from the 10 days that were missed, and wasiyat will be lazim upon that, and wasiyat of fidya. Anyway, and also another point um, from the part of the verse wherein Allah says فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ is that there is no restriction as such upon the intention that that person can make intention. Okay, so like going back to the example of the first 10 days of Ramadan, that person can, the person in question, the Musafir in question, who was on a journey at that time, embarked upon a journey, he can make the intention of commencing making up the fasts from the 9th or the 10th or the first, it doesn't matter. There is no tartib as such. And also if one wishes, they can spread their fasts out. There is no problem in that as well. Okay, so that's another mas'ala. Um, so there's no qaid as to a person has to keep 10 in a row. He can spread it out. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَ. Okay, so and upon those who have the strength of it, who have the strength to fast. Okay, and those who can keep it, who are able, um, who are able to fast. فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. So, and this is a hukm, an injunction that was valid in the earlier days of Islam in Medina Munawwara, which is clearly abrogated now. And that was that if someone was perfectly able to fast, he wasn't a marid like the likes of what was mentioned earlier in the discourse. He wasn't an ill person. He wasn't ill at all. Rather, he didn't feel like fasting. He felt a bit lazy on the day. So there was a concession that, okay, if you don't want to fast from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there was a concession that instead you can feed a miskin by way of fidya. Okay, feeding of one miskin sufficed for that fast. And despite that, even then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, that you fast will be better for you. خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, if you but know. So the preferred option was that one fasted. Okay. And clearly this was abrogated by the ayat that will follow, مَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. So this hukm, this ruling was previously for the common people and became abrogated and was became only valid for those who were extremely elderly, who are extremely elderly. So only those who are extremely elderly and don't have the strength to fast can follow this ruling of feeding one miskin, one poor person, of one of a fidya, of feeding of one poor person. So this will suffice for that extremely elderly person that is unable to fast. And this is based upon ijma' and consensus of the ummah, as is recorded in tafseer Mabhari and by Jassas. And moving forward, just as Salah was revealed in escalating stages, the same was the fact with fasting. Initially, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he arrived in Medina Munawwara, he fasted the 3 days of the month, the Ayyamul Bid, 13th, 14th, and 15th of each month, along with the fast of the 10th of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. Then the obligation of Ramadan came, Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. So then that obligation came, and everybody based upon that had an option as to fast or to give fidyah. Okay. Then the third stage came, Man shahida minkum ash-shahra falyasum, that only those that were extremely elderly had the option of giving fidyah. For the healthy and fit, they were obliged they became obliged to fast. So those that are healthy amongst us, we are obliged to fast otherwise, and those that are extremely elderly or also permanently ill for that matter. Now, what I mentioned about the relaxation given to that person who is ill is someone who's temporarily ill. When he gets better, somebody who's temporarily ill and then gets better afterwards, after recovery, that person has to make up those fasts. As for that person who has no hope of recovery, who is permanently ill or extremely elderly, that person can give fidyah instead of keeping a fast, which is the feeding of a poor person. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to uphold firmly and physically as well as spiritually the obligation of fasting, and to cherish this item of worship, this unique item of worship, and to learn about fasting and to bring it into our life. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولكافة المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.